Welcome, everybody, to the meeting, Township Council meeting, January 27th, 2025 at 7:30. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Specifically, the annual notice was emailed to the West Essex Tribune and Star Ledger on January 3rd, 2025. The agenda and resolutions for this meeting are available at www.livingstonnj.org. Certain portions of the meeting may be closed to the public for purpose of personnel and/or matters outlined in sunshine laws. Decisions made and/or discussed in closed sessions will be made known to the public at a later time. Notice to the members of the governing body and township staff, any use of electronic devices during the meeting shall be solely used for the purpose of township business, and any communications are subject to the Open Public Record Act. To the extent possible, this evening's Township of Livingston Council meeting will be live streamed via Facebook at www.facebook.com/Livingston Township NJ. Questions or comments will be accepted and shared by the Township Council by emailing livcomments@livingstonnj.org by 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Each speaker should follow the rules of order in Livingston Code 2-15. Roll call, please.
Council members, Anthony.
Here.
Bebtani.
Here.
Vieira.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Klein.
Here.
Mayor Meinhardt.
I am here. We're going to rise for a moment of silence and then followed by the pledge. A few weeks passed, and I failed to mention it at our last meeting. Livingston lost one of our dear friends to all of us and to the whole town, Joyce Gore. So I think it would be very appropriate to have a moment of silence in her memory, as well as all the other victims of senseless crimes and the people in the wildfires in California, excuse me. So this would be appropriate time for that. Thank you. All right. I do not see Eileen Fishman from the county, so we will go to proclamations and presentations. League of Women Voters, Martin Luther King Jr. Day letters to the mayor. Amy, it's all you. Okay, great. I think there's a microphone here as well that you should come up, please, and turn it on. You can come through. You can come through.
Okay. Good evening, Town Council. I'm Raya Saferstein.
And I'm Porva Gopal.
And we are the presidents of the Livingston High School chapter of the League of Women Voters. And at the town's MLK Day of Service event, the League of Women Voters got children ranging from elementary school to high school to write letters to the mayor asking what they like about Livingston, questions they may have, and things they want to see changed.
It's so important for kids to get involved in civics and find their voice so that they can also become actively engaged citizens. And this is one easy way to introduce them to the inner workings of our community and local government. Two large themes that we gathered from the letters were that the kids love our public schools, but they also want our sidewalks to be better maintained. We're going to read some highlights of the letters from the kids, and we hope you find them meaningful.
Okay, so in almost every single letter, every kid, none of them spoke to each other. They all wrote about the sidewalks. Every single one of them. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
And something that we both wrote about in our letters is that we really appreciate the town's continued support of cultural events and the diversity and your work with DEI.
I wanted to add that one of my favorite events that the town does is definitely MLK Day. Being there last week, it was amazing to see so many different organizations come together, people of different cultures, backgrounds, all just coming together to celebrate this amazing human. So I'm so glad you guys can make this possible.
And then I would also say a common theme was kind of getting kids more involved just in everything within the town. Because obviously we're here, but we're not seeing a lot of more other kids. So kind of finding more opportunities for them to be able to take part in things. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was great. So thank you both very much and all of the members of your organization. I say it every time, and I'm going to say it again. I love when people come and talk to us because that's how we learn what's going on in the community. We learn what's good, what's bad, what's wrong, what's right, everything. So my request would be to please ask all your friends. We're here every other Monday night at 7:30, most every other Monday night, sometimes on Tuesdays. We can always, happy to forward you our schedule for the rest of the year. Everyone's allowed to speak at these meetings. We'd love to hear what's on your mind. We have a conference meeting at 6:30. If that's a better time for some of you as well, you get to see what goes on, some of the workings of the town. Our doors are always open. Please, 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 as you said, we don't see a lot of kids come to these meetings. If you look around, you don't see a lot of adults as well. So that's why I'm always happy when people come, so we get to learn. And so what you guys are doing is, I think, very meaningful for all of us here because we got involved to help as well. That's why we're all here as well, to help and make this community a better place. And I will turn over for a minute to Councilman Vitani. We had a very interesting session at 6:30 about complete streets, which included sidewalks. So if you want to talk about that, I think it's very relevant to what you just said to us.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this was right there. As Mayor said, I mean, if yourselves were there, you would have seen what we are looking into. We are looking into making Livingston safer to walk. And one of the things we talked about just 30 minutes ago, how do we engage schools in making walkability to school safer for our kids, which is right in the alley of what you are hearing, say sidewalk safety and maintenance, right? So it all goes hand in hand. And it's so good that what kids are thinking, what the school children are thinking, as well as what you are hearing, letters to the mayor, and what we are thinking in the council, kind of aligning without really talking to each other. So that's the common goal. And I think as far as the kids' engagement is concerned, I do see a ton of engagement in LCDI. There is a lot of at least 4 kids every monthly meeting I see. And they give inputs and always are engaged. And MLK Day, as you said, Purva, your favorite day, and Raya, you said the same thing, right? So it's really where their inputs have made a difference in making that event very successful. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to let everybody have a minute to speak, but just our clerk, Carolyn Mizuko, was nice enough to point out to us. One of the things that you can do is the last few years, high school kids, is it over the age of 18? Yeah, okay, so you're both poll workers, I understand.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to encourage your friends who qualify as well, because it's a great program. I know we talked about it at the 5-on-5 over a year ago, and after that, we got a huge response. Obviously, you both were part of it. And so, we'd love to encourage more of you to get involved as well with that. With that, I'm going to start down the line. Councilman Vieira?
Well, thank you very much. I love working with the kids in the schools. I just know a couple weeks ago, a freshman, a high school freshman, had contacted me, and she said she started a Portuguese club at the high school. And she said, can we get the Portuguese flag raised? And I said, I will work on it. And you know what? We are going to work on it. I talked to in the conference room today about raising the Portuguese flag. But it's nice. Those ideas are coming from students, and they're bringing them into the council, and the council is acting on that. So I clearly encourage any student, whether you're in kindergarten to high school, just come to us if they want to talk to us. And I know that I think we all got Read America. So I think in a couple of days we're going to be. I think I'm at I think it's Collins that we're going to be reading to the February 4th or what? Yeah, 24th is it? Okay. Yeah. So it's great. I think all of us I could say that we just love working with the students. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Well, we got a couple other people. Everybody wants to say, I'm sure, words. So Deputy Mayor Klein?
I'll be brief. My feeling when I see you guys come up here has a lot to do with making me feel less panicked about what's going on with the federal government. It's young people coming up, future of the country, having sensible heads, recognizing the importance of institutions, recognizing the importance of democracy. Keep doing those things, all right? This is what saves the country in the end, in my opinion. Thank you.
Councilman Anthony?
I just want to thank you. Did you paraphrase all those letters there? That's amazing.
Yes, they're like 33.
It's like 33 and you
33.
condensed it.
Yes.
Great job. I admire the brevity up here as well. I just want to say that on the LEC, we added students to that. And I think we're always looking for ways to hear our younger voices. I'm telling you, on the LEC, it's the best ideas, the young, environmental ideas that are coming from the students. Because you have a bunch of older people like me on there. And it's been a real success, and you're seeing some projects that they're working on that were totally the idea of students. And I love that you said the MLK Day, because that's always such a nice event. And did you call him a great man, great human being? I big fan of MLK. So part of what I went into. But thanks. I'll pass it on to.
I think everybody had a chance to comment. So thank you both very much. And I will just take a second to thank Amy and Robin for hosting all of us again this past Thursday night. We had a really nice hour-and-a-half session, very informative, loved the informal style, and really enjoyed it. So thank you both for hosting all of us. All right, just let us know when. All right, thank you.
While she's handing you, they're handing you the prize. Oh, okay, okay.
All right, so now with no further ado, we are going to ask Graham Petto from Topology to go over a presentation that the council heard last week in a closed session about the fourth round of fair share housing, and we all felt it was very important for the entire community to see the same thing, to hear what we hear, and to see what the state has mandated us to pass. So Graham, thank you.
Now we're good? Yes. Okay, thank you. So first of all, good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of the Township Council, and residents of Livingston. My name is Graham Petto, Principal Planner with Topology, here this evening to preview the fourth round of affordable housing here for the Township of Livingston, to provide kind of an overview of how the process is different from the third round, and what we can kind of expect forthcoming as we move into the next round of affordable housing obligations. Okay, so first I'm going to walk through kind of a fourth round compliance process, a high level, just a high level, sorry, no worries. Just a high level picture of what to expect over the next coming months, and how this process lays itself out. In contrast, as you all are well aware, in the spring, Governor Murphy signed new legislation that codified the affordable housing process. So this process moving forward for the fourth round and all future subsequent rounds for each 10-year period forthcoming will be much different than the third round process. The third round was a court-led process. Settlements happened kind of in closed session. Things will be much more out in the open, and we'll walk through that process for everyone to understand. So on the screen here, I have kind of the high-level timeline of what we can expect. The first key date marker for the township to be aware of is January 31st of 2025. That is a date by which the municipal governing body needs to adopt its obligation number, the number of units, affordable housing units that it needs to plan for over the forthcoming 10-year period from 2025 to 2035. That number needs to be adopted by resolution, which I believe you all have on this evening for consideration and adoption. Following adoption of that number, there will be a review period or a challenge period where interested parties may challenge the municipality's adopted number.
Graham, could I just real briefly, for anyone out there
Yes.
watching, we will have this whole PowerPoint on the website, because I know if you're watching the Facebook, it might be hard to read some of this.
Sure,
So
sure.
we'll put the whole PowerPoint up on the website tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis, for referencing that. So,
Carolyn's saying that it's up on the, with the agenda, so people actually can see it now. Okay,
included
great.
with the agenda packet. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So there's a challenge period where interested parties can levy a challenge against the municipality's adopted number. That challenge must be filed by February 28th of 2025. Following that challenge period, there will be a review process. From March 1st through April 1st of 2025, the Affordable Housing Dispute Resolution Program will review the challenge and make a determination. They will either approve the municipality's number, accept the challenge and present a different number, modify the number. There's still some rules being drafted and finalized for how that process will play out. However, after we adopt our number here this evening, the township will start to move into their housing element fair share plan process. That's going to be a public process in partnership with your planning board to develop a plan for how you will accommodate affordable housing for the next 10-year period here within the township. And that process needs to conclude and be completed by June 30th of 2025. The housing plan is to be adopted by the planning board and then also endorsed by this body as well. And both of those actions have to happen by June 30th. Then there'll be another challenge period potentially if any interested parties are interested in challenging between July 1st and August 31st, where challenges can be presented to the housing plan that's adopted by the municipality. Interested parties may suggest that such strategies in the housing plan may not work, or other questions that they may have. Then through the end of the year, the municipality can work together with the challenging party to identify resolution to the housing element and fair share plan. And then finally, the last deadline is by March 31st of next year. All implementation strategies of the housing element and fair share plan must be codified and adopted by ordinance or other mechanism to effectuate the plan. And again, this is available for you, and happy to answer any questions. And I should also reference that we've prepared kind of a process memo as well that's available for the public to review as well, that kind of details these steps with more information as well. Okay, so the first step, which we're talking about this evening, is really the adoption of the obligation number and how that number is calculated for the municipality. So calculating need obligations, previously numbers were published and provided, and there wasn't really clarity as to how affordable housing obligation numbers were prepared or developed. That process now for this fourth round and moving forward is wholly different. The entire methodology, the steps to calculate numbers are all codified in NJSA 52:27D-304.3. The entire process is spelled out as to how you calculate that. So the first high-level step is that regional needs of affordable housing are calculated. There's 6 regions across the state of New Jersey. Livingston is located within the second region, Region 2. And the future need is determined by a share of past growth within the region. The affordable housing the region's affordable housing number is then allocated to municipalities by averaging 3 allocation factors: an income capacity factor, a non-residential valuation change factor, and finally a land capacity factor. So the Region 2's prospective need, this is for the region that Livingston is located within. So you calculate the prospective need of units between 2025 and 2035. To do this, set forth in the methodology is you look at how did the region grow between 2010 and 2020. You take that number of new households, divide it by 2.5 to estimate the share of low and moderate income households. So for Region 2, which encompasses Essex, Morris, Union, and Warren counties, the total growth was 51,264 new households between 2010 and 2020. The share of those units that's estimated to be occupied by low and moderate income households is 20,506, and that's the number that needs to be allocated to all municipalities for the future growth period. The allocation factor is used as a percentage applied to the overall regional obligation, and it's important to note that within Region 2, there are 13 qualified urban aid municipalities that do not receive an obligation. So here within Region 2, only 91 of our 104 municipalities receive an assigned prospective need obligation.
So Graham, I'll just jump in. So this was the subject of the Montvale litigation, that these qualified urban aid municipalities should be included. And if they were included, it would reduce our number more significantly than some of this other work. That lawsuit is kind of at a standstill. They were denied, again, today they were denied in court. But we do have in our resolution language that if that Montvale litigation is successful or similar litigation is successful, that we can modify our number based on that.
And Jared, I would just point out that, because I think it's shocking to all of us, that like a place like Montclair is part of one of these municipalities is identified as not requiring units. So the process of how those townships and municipalities were configured to not have any need appropriated to them, it seems really unfair to other towns.
Correct, yeah, Montclair is one of the qualified urban aid municipalities, and again, the list is set forth and the standards within it are set forth within the legislation. Okay, so to facilitate this process and assist, the DCA has prepared non-binding advisory calculations. Those were released on October 20th of 2024, where the DCA went through the full methodology document, calculated the number for every municipality across the state that's participating in the process. Subsequently, on November 23rd of 2024, the DCA released a digital map file called a GIS shapefile or data layer of depicting all of the developable land within each municipality across the state. DCA also released its full methodology document, workbook, spreadsheets, everything. So we appreciate the open and transparent process that DCA went through to provide this information. And I have a link. All of this is available online, so anyone can visit that link and see the materials that have been published and posted. And again, these are non-binding advisory numbers, so municipalities may use these numbers as guidance and prepare updated calculations informed by more accurate local conditions. Again, it's the three factors: income capacity, non-residential, and land capacity factors. I'm going to walk through each of them for Livingston. So the income capacity factor is determined by averaging the municipal share of the regional sum of differences between median household income and the same calculation, but weighted by number of households within the municipality. That's a lot of word salad. In short, it essentially means that communities with higher incomes and higher share and larger in size, more households, have a higher income capacity factor. High income, smaller in size, have a smaller but still high income capacity factor. And here I've presented at the bottom, and this is based solely on census data, so this is a math exercise. The DCA has calculated Livingston's income capacity factor at 3, and I just wanted to note that that is the third highest among all Region 2 municipalities. Next is the non-residential valuation change factor. Essentially, this is the growth in non-residential valuation of your commercial and industrial assets from 1999 through 2023. You just summarize the value that you had in 1999, summarize in 2023, what's the change, and what share is that change representative of the entire region's growth. So here for Livingston, the DCA did that calculation and found that the Livingston non-residential valuation factor is 2.69, essentially saying that 2.69% of all of Region 2's non-residential growth occurred in the Township of Livingston. And again, this is the 9th highest in the Region 2. And finally, the land capacity factor. This is again determined by estimating the area of developable land within the municipality's boundaries. This is the exercise that DCA went through with their developable land file. And DCA found that Livingston's land capacity factor is 1.06. They estimate that there's about 57 acres of developable land, and that's of the 5,358 acres of developable land across the entire region. That's 24th of the 91 municipalities in Region 2. Okay, so in summary, this is where the math comes in. You take your 3.0 income capacity factor, your 2.69 non-residential factor, and your 1.06 land capacity factor. You average those three together. The average is 2.25. You multiply 2.25 by 20,506, and you get the prospective need obligation of 461 units. That's how DCA went through their math and determined the number of units that they estimate that Livingston must accommodate over the next 10-year period. So to support the township, what we did at Topology was we completed an assessment of the 3 component factors to confirm accuracy. We did that for income and the non-residential value. The DCA methodology is correct, and we affirmed those. And then we've also processed updates for the land capacity factor. So the land capacity factor was further assessed following the publication of their GIS file. So we went through, took the map that they prepared, overlaid it with township information, additional flood information, parcels, looked at the configuration of these areas that they claimed were developable or identified as developable, and did a further assessment. And we have modified this factor accordingly based on what's actually on the ground. And I just wanted to caveat this in defense of DCA. They did this statewide. This was a 30,000-foot kind of flyover analysis. They didn't get to the level that we did to support this work. So that's where we wanted to get into some detail. Just a quick note on this, these developable lands that the DCA has identified, we're going to show some maps depicting some of these areas. I just want to caveat this that nothing is to be built on these areas at this point. These are really just illustrative of what DCA found as developable. So this is just kind of a disclaimer slide that explains that it's an estimate of what we're estimating as developable.
Yeah, I think it's also important to add that even though it's developable, it may not be residential developable for the purposes of this presentation. So we have to account for that. It could be industrial, it could be warehouse. So this doesn't mean that this is residential, and these aren't the lands that have to be built as part of our. We don't touch any of the developable land as part of our fourth round obligation.
That's correct. Yes, thank you, Jared. Okay, so a couple of sample images kind of depicting the areas that the DCA has identified as developable. Here, this property located at the intersection of South Orange Avenue and East Hobart Gap Road. That little kind of red, I don't know, oh, this can't point, this red squiggle area is a piece that DCA said is developable land, and we've identified that clearly this configuration of this piece, it existing on 2 sites that are both improved themselves, this is not developable land. It should not be included within the calculation. Again, some of these areas, again, the red coloring in this kind of very narrow parcel located along the municipal boundary. There is no road access to this area. These are other areas that we have eliminated from consideration. So I'm not walking through every single one. We have a lot. There's a full list contained within our final report, but just kind of wanted to show some highlighted areas of what we've gone through and screened out. Here's another area located adjacent to the mall site and to the St. Barnabas property. This kind of median piece that's bisected by the floodway and 500-year floodplain. Obviously, this is not developable property and should be excluded from consideration as developable land. And finally, this example, we have a lot, this is a very common situation, the rear of religious or house of worship properties that are forested. We find that there's a lot of those that were included. So here we have a church property on West Northfield. The rear of this lot, the forested area at the back, DCA is identified as developable, and also some of these areas lining some other properties. Clearly, these are not a sufficient size. They're not available. They're already encumbered by existing development. These should not be included as developable areas. So in going through this analysis for your land capacity factor on a parcel-by-parcel basis, we have reviewed all of the 56.892 acres identified as developable by the DCA, and we found that, in fact, only 14 of those acres are truly developable. As such, we have removed about 42.6 acres from the calculation, and this modifies the land capacity factor from all the way down to 0.27. And I just wanted to note, that seems like we did we took a lot of land out. We should see a huge drop in the number would be your kind of thought process. But I wanted to add this kind of calculation note slide that talks about the strongest factors. Remember, what's really pulling Livingston's number high are the non-residential valuation factor, 5th or 6th highest, 9th highest in the region, I forget exactly the number. The income capacity factor, 3rd highest in the region. Those 2 factors alone are allocating 388 units to Livingston. So you can't get much lower than 388. So we don't have much room to work with.
So what was just said is if we had 0 land, we would still have a 388.
That's right.
Need, based on our income and our non-residential value.
So the land capacity factor is the weakest of the 3 factors. And based on this strong weighting, there's really not much room to kind of pull development down further, pull the obligation number down further. So then this final slide, I kind of have presented The modified calculation, so we have all the metrics, the DCA calculation, the modified values that we're recommending, and then the relative change in those. So as you can see in the middle column, the modified values, by incorporating the land capacity factor of 0.27, that drops our average allocation factor from 2.25 down to 2.01, and results in a 407 unit prospective need obligation, roughly a 54 unit drop from the DCA calculation model.
So I just want to say, so what's before the governing body tonight, and, certainly, yes, Graham or myself questions, is Resolution 25-007. So what we're doing tonight is we're modifying DCA's number down. It's very mathematical, it's very statutorial. I think that topology did an amazing job going property by property. A lot of municipalities are going through this and not going through this painstaking detail. I think they did an amazing job with all the maps they include in the reports. To justify this 407. This doesn't mean that we're gonna have to build 407 affordable units. The next step will be doing a vacant land adjustment to understand what our realistic development potential is. But this is coming up with our modified need based on the DCA number. There's not really much wiggle room, and I think we could justify this 407 based on the work that topology did. And following our adoption of the resolution, we'll be filing a declaratory judgment action. That was a new procedural requirement that was added within the last 30 days as people are just trying to learn this. So we'll be filing a declaratory judgment action, which you're authorizing my firm to do as part of this resolution also, confirming this 407 as our modified number.
That's it. So if anybody has any questions, happy to entertain.
So I'll just go first. So Graham, thank you very much. I appreciate this. We appreciate a few weeks ago. We appreciate all the work that you have done since you and Topology have come on board. It's really been a wonderful thing having you as our partners, working together with you and Phil and the rest of your staff as well.
Thank
Very
you.
much appreciate it. I just think the one thing we should also maybe talk about is that going into the fourth round, whenever we do come up with these numbers, that, thanks to all the hard work of our counselor, Jared, and Topology as well, we have a whole bunch of credits as well that are coming into the third round as well from all the stuff that we worked hard on to get done. So I don't know if you have the exact number, but if you want to just elaborate for 10 or 15 seconds about some of the work that we've done in the past, I think it'd be interesting for everybody to hear that as well.
Yeah, so in the next, I'll just do it. So in the next month, we'll be finalizing and adopting our overlay zoning for the mall. As a result of our third round settlement agreement, we have 124 surplus credits. And what makes our settlement agreement unique, and I don't think you can find it in any other municipality, but I wouldn't swear to it, is specifically within our settlement agreement, it allows us to carry these surplus credits towards our RDP in the fourth round. So I think that that's important. It's 10D in our settlement agreement, so we have 124 surplus credits that we can carry forward. They're not bonus credits, they're not for new building, it's actually, we've gotten a benefit from what we've built in the third round, and I think that was part of the reason why, among others, that we agreed to the zoning on the mall that we agreed to at that time.
I'll ask any other council members if they have any comments while Graham's here.
So yeah, I'll just go quickly. I second Mayor's note that, thank you, good work, and this is detail, and this is what we should be. I'm a little disappointed that we do not have many people listening to this very informative session. I was at an NJLM event this past weekend, and I can say that almost every town I spoke to, the representatives of those towns, they were concerned. They were asking questions. A lot of them were from the naiveness or other not having enough information. So this sets us apart. This kind of information being transparent to the community and to the council and the work of reducing it, as much as we can. The thing that really strikes me is something you mentioned, Jared, that this factor of land adjustments reduces it to, let's say, 60 or so units or a commitment or requirement. If we had zero land, we still are obligated for 388. That's how troublesome this is, right? So I think it is more and more awareness, hopefully residents reaching out as well, and everywhere, I think this is where it hits home, where how it is more drawing on town's resources, this kind of, legislation. So just want to point that out and want to make sure it is noted that we are all concerned. I think I can speak on behalf of my fellow members as well on this, that it is a concerning piece, but thank you.
And I'll just follow up that the fourth round does allow for a downward adjustment based on sewer or water capacity, but not for school, not for fire, not for police, not for those things that, really matter to Livingston, which I think was a disappointment.
Thank you. Any other of the councilman, deputy mayor, have any comments?
The one thing that I would say that seems like it would be a solution to this problem, and we tried to bring it up, is that, and this is something we should bring up because we actually haven't mentioned it, that typically what happens here is that when a developer comes along, they build at a 4-to-1 ratio, right? So we're looking at, if we had to do all 461 units, potentially that's 2,300 new units.
407.
No, but 460, we're going to say 407, but the DCA was telling us 461. Yes, we are, but but DCA would be 10,000 units. So, 2,000, 2,300 would it be if the DCA, if we took their number without, trying to make it more fair. We have 10,000 households in this municipality right now, and added another almost 25% more households. That's what we're talking about here. So if you want to talk about being concerned about changing the character of Livingston, you want to talk about taking a place that is, I think, in my opinion, kind of a golden goose, and a place where people can come from wonderful neighborhoods and be at schools that do an outstanding job and for our students, and a place to make us all very proud. When you change the character, you may chase away the people that are bringing that to this town, and you may end up making it a place that's different than what you're trying to, instead of bringing people in a way that you want to give people access to a town like this, you may be destroying the access that they're getting. Never got a standing O from Justin before. Thank you, sir.
Michael?
Thank you, Mayor, and I just want to thank Topology. I'm happy to see that we're getting in front of this instead of the last time that, and unfortunately, and Barry, it wasn't your fault because you weren't here, the last administration did not start this. I think they started it probably with 3 years left on the time clock, and that's why we had to push a lot of stuff right to the end. And I'm just very happy that we're starting very early so then we can get a handle on all of this, so it doesn't come down to the final year of round 4 where everything gets just shoved down our throats. So I want to wish you and all of us the best of luck as we proceed in the next 10 years in trying to deal with this. So thank you. And I'm very happy that, even though we had some issues in the last round, we have 124 credits that we came out of ahead for this round. So it does help us also. So thank you. Agreed.
You good? You want to?
Real quick,
Tag along?
thank you so much for taking the deep dive here. The 461 to 407, some of that land is not developable at all. I'm glad you're taking a deep dive with your expertise and Topology's expertise of pushing back on some of this. It's sometimes numbers picked, and it really has no basis to reality when you really take the deep dive. But thank you for that. And yeah, Jared, a great point. 388 with nothing, so you might as well chop down this 461 when it doesn't make sense. So thanks.
Sure.
All right, Graham, thank you again. Really
course.
appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Very much.
Thanks.
All right, moving on the agenda, is there a motion to approve minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 13th, 2025, regular and conference, and January 13th, closed session.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? No. All right, motion to open up for public comment on agenda items?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Just so you're aware, Mr. Albert, for this year, we're not going to have you say your address, just say whether or not you're a resident or not. We're trying to keep, because this is recording, going on Facebook, we're trying to protect people's privacy as to their home address. It's still the law, though. It's a bad law.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Justin Alpert. I am a resident of Livingston. Resolution 25085, appointing commissioner and alternate commissioner to New Jersey Intergovernmental Insurance Fund. Would welcome you to pull that from the packet so we can understand what's going on there with the Intergovernmental Insurance Fund. Resolution 25077, committing to this new affordable housing. What a tremendous disappointment the Murphy administration has been. It has been 7 years wasted. The third round was a waste of time. This fourth round, just doing back of the napkin numbers, you know, if there are 50 acres developable and we're doing 4 to 1 and they want 400, that's 40 units per acre. And even if we just include, we stopped it down to 14 acres that are actually available, and if we have 388 units, that's what, 27 per acre, and that doesn't even include the 4 times multiplier. Every county in this state shifted red in the last election. The Republicans are very, very excited because they feel that majority people in this state feel that we have suffered under the absolute power of the Democrats in the New Jersey State Democratic Committee. Welcome 1, 2, 3 of you to become Republicans, switch parties. There's a lot we could do. We can move in stronger leadership that empowers the localities to plan for healthy growth. And just a point here, if we are going to be planning for 2,000 units over the course of 10 years, that's only 200 per year. That's about a 2% growth rate. If we are going to do that, what you want to do is you want to account for the cash flows associated with that 200 units coming in year 1. And you want to make sure that the construction money in year 1, we're going to have to go and hire people from outside. By the time we get to year 10, all that money should be staying in the community because we are hiring people in the community to do the work that needs to be done that's associated with healthy growth in the community. We can probably back this number down. We could back it down significantly by installing stronger leadership. But we need to be planning for growth within this community in a way that we are doing the work, in the way that the cash flows that are coming in benefit the community over the long term. When we see cash flows come in and cash flows come out, we want to increase the cash flows coming in and limit the cash flows coming out and build an internal dynamics that you would associate with a vibrant, healthy, growing community. Make no mistake, healthy growth is both desirable and achievable. But we need local control, and we need the ability to responsibly innovate. And if everyone at the New Jersey League of Municipalities feels that this is a bad idea, we have the ability to take back control over our state government. This is a political problem. The courts are way overextended by 4 decades on their authority here. We have the opportunity this November to regain responsible control, and we should do so. And this Livingston Council should be active and vocal, and we should be leading the 500-some municipalities to do it right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Justin. Barry, you want to give a quick color on 25-085 per Justin's request?
Yeah, so at the reorganization meeting, our commitment in a joint, we get our insurance through a joint intergovernmental insurance fund. Every 3 years, the cycle is up. We went out for competitive proposals. We had previously been members of the Garden State Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. We got a more favorable proposal, saved significant dollars switching to the New Jersey Intergovernmental Insurance Fund. So we joined that fund, and one of the requirements is that we appoint a commissioner and an alternate commissioner. So that's what that resolution is.
Are you controlling how the premium float is invested?
I'm not aware of that we control that, no, because it largely goes to other insurance companies.
Okay. Anybody else for comments on agenda items only?
Motion to close public comment period.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Final hearing, second reading ordinance, please, Carolyn, 01-2025.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 1-2025, amending Chapter 162, lead testing inspections for rental dwellings.
Motion open public comments.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Seeing none, any motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to move?
I'll move it.
Second?
Hey,
Councilmember Anthony,
Yes.
Baptani,
Yes.
Viera,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Klein,
Yes.
Mayor Meinhardt.
Yes. That'll move us down to the consent agenda. All matters listed on with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, in which case that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. Would anybody like to see any of these removed? Not hearing any, I would ask Carolyn to please read them all.
Resolution 25-076, appointments to the zoning board. Resolution 25-077, committing to the Department of Community Affairs fourth round affordable housing, present need and prospective need numbers as modified. Resolution 25-078, authorizing disposition of surplus. Resolution 25-079, authorizing the award of a contract to McManaman, Scotland and Bauman LLC for redevelopment council. Resolution 25-080, authorizing the award of a contract to Antonelli Cantor Rivera Affordable Housing Council. Resolution 25-081, authorizing the award of a contract to Topology NJ LLC. Resolution 25-082, authorizing a contract extension with Waste Industries LLC. Resolution 25-083, preserve NJ Historic Preservation Fund administered by the NJ Historic Trust. Resolution 25-084, authorizing membership in the New Jersey Intergovernmental Insurance Fund. Resolution 25-085, appointing commissioner and alternate commissioner to the NJ Intergovernmental Insurance Fund.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolutions on the
Second.
consent agenda.
A second? Is there any discussion on these, or there's no?
Councilmember Anthony,
Yes.
Baptani,
Yes.
Viera,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Klein,
Yes.
Mayor Meinhardt.
Yes, thank you. Can I have a motion to open up the meeting, the public portion?
Motion to open up the meeting of the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Justin Alpert. I'm a resident of Livingston.
Excuse
3
me,
points.
I'm not
One,
gonna- Justin, I'm not going to take your time away. We'll give you another 15, 20 seconds. Maybe we should just say, going forward, how many years you've been residents of Livingston?
we're going on 21 this year, which is very exciting. I appreciate that. If I could take that additional 30 seconds just to comment how efficiently government is being run, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. These meetings are all being run very efficiently, and I think everybody is appreciative. The entire audience is appreciative, so thank you.
You're
Actually, you couldn't be more right.
your extra 30 seconds is granted without a vote, without a vote.
Thank you. So let's reset back to 3 minutes. We discussed in the back raising a certain flag. Certain students wanted to come in and raise a flag, and we discussed that it was strictly the council's determination as to a flag being risen, and the township attorney raised the issue that I generally have an issue with the rule that you guys have developed, and I do. Your only purpose being up there is to reflect the sentiment of the community. When you take a piece of community property for yourself from us, and you use it for your own speech, it literally does not serve the interests of the community. We should be having flag raisings. We should be inviting people flag raisings. That Stars and Bars, that stands for liberty and justice for all. That includes all of us. We should be raising that flag and inviting people to bring all their other flags that they're interested in. And you know what? It's okay if it's a flag that we don't necessarily agree in, because we're all big boys and girls and we can have a discussion. Rather than shutting that off and creating the council's own speech, let's have a community speech, and let's do it under that Stars and Stripes. 2, this is a continuing issue with things decided behind closed doors. You said you agreed on something with respect to the mall. We've never had any public conversation with respect to the mall. So I'm actually really interested in what it is that you guys agreed to with respect to the mall. There's not been any public conversation yet. As well, you guys made a decision in a closed room, it was not on the agenda, to shut down all Facebook comments. Well, you know what? That's a wonderful tool for the community to communicate. But you guys shut down all comments on there, and the question is why? Can we reverse that? Can we reverse it right now? There should be more done in public. We can't be afraid of the public. We can't be afraid of speech of the public. There is nobody in this room. If we want people to show up, you guys got to be out there and you have to be saying to people, hey, we have this wonderful presentation coming out tonight. Come out. Let's have a conversation about this. Let's discuss what it is that we want this community to look like. But instead, there's no one here. It's just you guys. We could do better. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to clarify, there's nothing new on the mall. What's going on with the mall was what was agreed to in our July 22nd, 2023 third round fair share housing settlement agreement. We agreed to certain zoning in place in the mall. We had a public resolution that was passed. We had public discussion. There was also a fairness hearing as it related to the settlement agreement. This is just the implementation of that settlement agreement. We were just waiting on topology to draft the appropriate ordinance. Mayor, yeah? We
Go ahead, Council.
Yeah, we agreed to 76 affordable units at the Livingston Mall. The final count was, I think, 376 units. And it's just on the Transformco site, the former Sears site. As part of this agreement, which I think was a benefit to the, as you recall, to the township, we fought and we preserved the rights to the rest of the mall, that Fair Share Housing Corporation or any interested party cannot look to the mall for units in the fourth round. So we protected Livingston Mall from the fourth round of Fair Share Housing and limited it to just the Transformco Sears site.
So, Mayor, may I? That's actually a victory for us, because we have a dying mall over there that you could put probably thousands of units over there, and we locked it in the last round where it's 376 units, okay? So I think that's clearly a success right there for us.
No,
a
it was a
victory.
huge victory because they were looking to put units across the entire span of the mall and have a zone for the entire span of the mall. And we were able to convince Fair Share Housing as part of litigation to limit it to the Transformco site. We also were able to use the credits, although it was part of our third round obligation. We're using those credits in the fourth round. And no Fair Share Housing Corporation and no interested party can look to the Livingston Mall in the fourth round. We can't be forced to use Livingston Mall in the fourth round. We certainly can allow it, but we can't be forced to. Is there a master plan for the mall property? The mall is included in the master plan, and this part would be included in our master plan as part of our Fair Share Housing element. If the mayor wants to comment on that.
As I mentioned on New Year's Day, there will be something coming out. Barry, are we still looking possibly for the end of the month, if we can get everything done correct? End of February, excuse me. I am hoping that we can plan, like I discussed at my remarks on New Year's Day, something called a charrette, which will be a week-long process where we will have buy-in from all the residents of this town. There'll be sessions held throughout the entire different parts of the day, run by a company that does this full-time in association with Topology, who was here today as well. And this way we will have buy-in from the entire town as to what they're looking to see as well, and what makes sense as well from an economic standpoint of anyone who would take over the mall.
That charrette will be the beginning of the planning process for the mall.
Yes, and while that money will be paid at this point, whenever a developer is selected for the mall, and whenever that happens, the first thing the developer will have to do is pay the town back for all the amount spent on the charrette. Can I have anybody else, can I have a motion to close public comment?
Motion to close public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Okay, reports of township officials and council members. Ann, anything for this evening?
Nothing tonight, thank you, Mayor.
Adam?
Nothing tonight.
Barry?
Nothing, Mayor, other than the topology report, the PowerPoint, and the compliance memo that Mr. Petto referenced will be up on the website.
Russ? Nothing. Counselor?
Nothing further, Mayor, thank you.
Carolyn?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, as discussed at our meeting 2 weeks ago, instead of all of us saying the same thing 5 times, we're going to have one person speak for us, and we will rotate it. This week, it's Deputy Mayor Klein.
I did not know that was going to be me, and I have not collected comments from my fellow councilmen. No, we never talked about me being the first one to go.
Anyway, all right, so, all right,
Well, nobody sent me any comments, let me say that.
okay.
I didn't collect either.
Okay.
So,
All right, so I can,
so we'll go, so for an extra 2 minutes, if we can keep everybody to 2 minutes then?
I'll be very brief.
Okay, and then why don't you go give it your best shot, and we'll see who else adds on.
I would like to just say that, and thanks to Barry, and thanks to Chris Southworth at our DPW, we were able to open up Littell's Pond for ice skating over the weekend, first time in 6 years. And we some of the councilmen ventured over there just to see what was going on. I think we got there a little early. Apparently, one person had been there and she had skated off, but when we were there, it was still early and quiet. But then people came after we left. But I think it's just really fun. Nice little thing, and thanks for, it really did take some work on the township's part, and we had someone staffing there the full time, just in case, even though we, of course, tested the thickness of the ice, but we had to get the insurance company to sign off, and Russ helped with that. And we had to, our DPW was staffing there the whole time with someone who was in a suit, that if someone fell in the water, that they could be rescued. It just shows that the town can do some fun things and be a little agile when we want to be, and it was great. Thank you.
All right, so I'll give everybody 1 minute. Michael, you have anything?
I had nothing because I thought 5 people would send it to Sean, but I just want to thank the Livingston Diversity and Inclusion Committee. A wonderful job for the Martin Luther King Day. And I just want to thank everybody who participated. Great event as usual.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Me?
Sure, we'll let Al go before Kate this time.
You want to, Kate?
Okay, you guys flip it, make it. What do you guys
You
pick
go.
it out? What do you-
You want me to?
it's like rock, paper, scissors.
I think Michael covered the LCDI, great Martin Luther King. I don't want to repeat anything, but when I went over to the skating, I saw, would you see one person? I saw. I
Saw 3 people there, but it was us.
3.5.
I saw 5.
On the ice?
Yeah, someone was really, one was a figure skater.
There were 6, so we have 6
Yeah,
total then, 'cause
so a little bit of hockey being played. Yeah, so 5. So I have nothing else because I didn't send you any comments. But I think on March 10th.
Okay, I did send the list out, just so everybody realized I did send it out. Anyway, Kate, you're up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I won't repeat the pond, and but I do want to say I'm very proud. I'm a liaison on Livingston Committee for Diversity and Inclusion, and what a fabulous job. The MLK Day celebration was very well attended, as the kids came in the beginning. The excitement was there. A nice way to give back, give the service, do the service as MLK Junior's motto was. So that was fabulous, and again, a shout out to DPW. We had a pretty bad cold snap and some snow, and the roads were clean. Very nice job. I think but there was a lot of good vibe that came out, saying my street was cleaned in the night. People were up in the morning, and they were all plowing through their driveways, but the streets were clean. So that was good. So just want to go to that. Yeah, thank you.
I'll just add to the DPW, because they deserve all the credit. I say it every day, every time we have a chance. They're the backbone of this operation. Appreciate all they do. I had a friend of mine who had rounds to go to early Monday morning, and loved the fact that he was able to get out at 6 o'clock in the morning, get to the hospital and do his rounds. So thank the DPW for everything they did. And also the Martin Luther King Day was great event to be at, and these letters were great as well. So I thank everybody. And with that, I'll take a motion for adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.